Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are medium and low to the mat, focusing on core. When we're on the back today, we are going to be introducing an intermittent ab blast. So when I say the words blast, you are going to find your way into a nice deep imprinted scoop, and you're going to hold that scoop for the back on back execution of 4 exercises: a floating 100, a single leg stretch, a double leg stretch, and a grounded 100. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's class coming right into some seated roll downs. So if you know that you require a little bit of padding for your lower back, you're going to place your prop in position now. Sit up nice and tall in a staff pose. Feet about hip width distance apart. We're going to begin seated tall with the arms extended out in front. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, nod your chin to your chest, hollow out your belly, round out your back, and start to roll down. And then back up. Starting to work with your breath, inhaling to prep, using your whole exhale for the roll down. Inhale to prep, coming up halfway, and then exhaling for the rest of your roll up. Shoot for at least 5 to 6 full roll down patterns, working with your breath. Find your rhythm. Trying to come down as evenly as you can on the left and the right side of the spine, and then peel up with the same amount of control. We're going to end seated tall. You can keep the arms floating, or you can ground them to the mat if you need to. We're going to execute an alternating single leg stretch. Keeping that tall seat. Halfway. Then take a big breath in and start to find a side-to-side twisting motion, stopping every time along the midline. Maintaining your tall seat throughout and not hanging off your bum bones. Let's do one more to each side, and then we're going to take those individual components and we're going to fashion ourselves a combo move. So big breath in, roll it down, roll back up, single leg lift, hold it, twist to the same side, come back to the middle, ground to roll down. Peel back up, and lift on the second side, hold it, twist, bring it back, roll it down. We're going to do 4 more like this, 4 more sets. Find your rhythm. Keeping control throughout. And then we're going to play with the last round. So you're going to roll it down. You're going to roll it back up. You're going to find your lift and hold. You're going to twist. You're going to hold the twist. And then you're going to lift and lower your hovering leg. Then reground to come back down. Let's do the same to the second side. You're going to roll it down. Roll it up. Find your leg lift. Twist, hold the twist, and then start to tap, lift and lower. Find your way back. One more, roll down and roll up. And then find your way to a nice tall staff seat. You can either execute this one from a full staff seat, or you can come into a diamond frame if you like. You could even come into a grounded foot position with your knees bent if you need a little bit of support. So we're going to try to execute from the staff pose, and we are going to open up the arms into a T-frame. Our neutral line is going to be with the hands alongside our shoulders. We're going to think of coming into a hollow back. Then cow, throwing your hands back behind your neutral line. And then think cat and start to round out the back, hugging an imaginary tree. We're going to do that 4 more times. Finding your seated cow and then your seated cat. So think of a soft throwback motion to hollow out the back and look up towards the sky. And then think of hugging a tree to find your cat. Look for that contraction for the cat, and then undo the contraction and stretch the belly for the cow. Let's do one more set like this, and then I want you to put this cat-cow movement into your memory banks. We're going to incorporate it just now. All right, so sit up nice and tall. We're coming into a spine stretch. We're going to find the spine stretch, hold it, and we'll play with the arms. So sit up nice and tall and pretend that you've got a little barrel on your lap. Take a big breath in, float the hands overhead. On an exhale, find the contraction as you round out into a cat-like stretch. Then drag your fingertips towards the top end of the mat. Look for your lower back. Lift the arms and float them alongside your ears as you find the mid and the upper back. Hold that long stretch through the spine and start to tap your fingers 5 times to the mat and back. Keeping that spine stretch. Come back to your spine stretch and open up the arms into T. Find your cow, slightly hollowing, and then find your cat, slightly rounding. And back to your neutral spine. Tap your fingers to the mat. Start to slide them back. Round up before you restack, before you realign. We're going to do that twice more. Big breath in. Round out over your barrel. Drag your fingers forward. Give me a lift off. Look for that beautiful long spine stretch. Hold it and begin to tap to the mat and back. Then think of finding your hollow back as you throw the arms back. And then think of rounding the back as you find your cat. Then back to neutral, framing your ears, tap to the mat, drag your fingers back, and find your way back to your original position. One last time. Round out over your barrel. Release the contraction as you slide forward to find your spine stretch. Keep it while you tap to the mat. Then throw the arms back. Hug your tree. Back to neutral. Tap to the mat. And draw your way back to your original position. You're going to give me one more roll down to come onto the back, and then we're going to come straight into that little blast. All right. So you're going to roll it down. Bend your knees, ground your feet. If you do have padding, just slip it up and place it one side so that it isn't in your way. We're going to find our way through our first blast. So we're beginning in a neutral pelvis and a neutral spine. You're going to give me a full pelvic tilt. You're going to imprint your lower and your mid back. You're going to bleed up into a chest lift, and you're going to hover the arms at hip height. You're going to lock that chest lift in. Your legs are either in table or preferably extended. And you're going to find this quick beating 100 pattern for 5. Inhaling for 5. Exhaling for 5. Store the arms, tuck them behind your head and come into a single leg stretch. Bending one knee in towards your nose and reaching and extending through the other one. Keeping that nice deep scoop into the mat. Transition into a double leg stretch. Bend your knees, ground your feet, bring your arms alongside the body and back to your 100 pattern. Two more like this. Last one. Reground to the mat. Take a breather. You should already be feeling those abs after that blast. We're coming into a bridge articulation. We're going to begin in neutral. We're going to curl the tailbone in. We're going to articulate up one vertebra at a time, taking a little stretch into the belly and the tops of our thighs, firing up the glutes, hamstrings, quads, and then peel it back down. Let's do that 3 or 4 times, just mobilizing through the spine and finding the bridge. Articulating up and down, rolling up and down through the spine as you bleed up and down. Let's hold the next bridge. And then I want you to dip your right hip and come back to neutral 5 times. Dipping right and then neutralizing. Then dip left 5 times. Then dip both sides at the same time. So you're giving me half a bum drop and then you're piking back up 5 times. Then get back down equally through the left and the right side of the spine. We're coming back into our blast. You're going to find your deep scoop. You're going to draw the legs into table or extend and find your beating 100 pattern. Inhale for 5, exhale for 5. Tuck your hands behind your head and transition into a single leg stretch. Transition, double leg stretch. Halfway. End in the bend, ground your feet and come into a 100 pattern. Reground to the mat, take recovery. We're coming into a double dead bug. You're going to start with both feet on the mat and your pelvis in neutral. You're going to think of somebody gently pressing on your belly, depressing it and slightly rounding your mid back to pull both knees to 90. You're going to press and resist with both palms, and then you're going to release back down to the mat 10 times. Find your rhythm. Let's do 2 more. We're going to hold the last one and play. So as you come into your last one, you're going to release your pelvis to neutral on an inhale. On an exhale, you're going to contract your abs. You're going to press into your thighs as you hollow out, and rinse and repeat. So as you tilt and imprint, you press into your thighs with your palms, and then you release everything to neutral. Shoot for as close to 10 repeats as you can manage. Last one. You're going to find your way back into your blast. Give yourself a breather. When you're ready, you're going to set up your deep scoop. Legs in table or extended for your 100. Hands behind your head for your single leg stretch. Transition, double leg stretch. Ground your feet, come into your grounded 100. Last one. Release your blast. For the next exercise, we're coming into a tailbone lift, arms at your side or hands underneath your bottom. We'll do this one by drawing the legs into table, and you're either going to work with this bent knee line or more of a soft extended leg line, but you can keep a small micro bend in the knees. Your neutral line is with your knees over your hips. We're going to start our movement with the legs behind the neutral line. You're going to pull your legs through, lift just tailbone off the mat, hang on your bottom rib, and then slowly back for 5. Just the tailbone lifting, find your bottom rib, press it into the mat, hang on it, and then reground. Let's do one more. Then you're going to extend the legs as long and lengthened as you can manage. You're going to clip them together. We're going to move them as one unit. You're going to use your big toes to trace a clockwise circle and then an anti-clockwise circle. And you're going to keep playing alternating side to side. You're tracing the circumference of a ball, let's say a small soccer. Last set. Bend your knees, ground your feet, roll onto your side, sitting up and low to the mat position. Your bottom arm could be a long pillow, it could be a bent pillow, or it could be a propped pillow, whichever works for you. We're going to stack the body in one long line. We're going to keep the bottom leg grounded, and we're going to float the top leg up to hip height. We're going to come into a leg pull using that zippering up action through the lower abs to pull the leg forward and then float it back 10 times, keeping your working limb parallel to the mat at hip height throughout. Not kicking the leg, not flicking the leg, but pulling it forward and then releasing that contraction in the abs to allow it to float back to its start line in line with your hip. One more, then you're going to roll onto your second side to execute the same movement before we come back into our last pattern. So take a moment to just find your second side, sit up your position, float the top leg to hip height, and start to play with that leg pull. Put this leg pull in your memory banks. The next time we come here, we're going to switch it up. Last one, and you're going to find your way into your back, and you're going to find your way into your blast. We're going to change up the arm position this time. Take a big breath in, find your tilt and imprint, breathe up into your chest and arm lift, legs in table or extended for your first 100. And we're just shooting for 5 repeats of the 100. Still your arms and transition into your single leg stretch. If keeping the arms floating alongside your hips is too much for you, tuck the hands behind your head and make your head heavy in your hands. Keep the scoop. Don't allow your shoulders to relax back down. Transition, double leg stretch. And in the bend, ground your feet back into your 100s for 5. Last one. Reconnect to the mat. Take recovery. We're coming back into some bridge work. But this time, instead of articulating up and down through the spine, we're going to look for more glute work by doing a soft thrust up and reconnect to the mat. So you're bleeding up in one movement and you're bleeding down in one movement 10 times. Squeezing your glutes at the height of your bridge and then softening your glutes to float all the way back down. Peel up and down equally, so the shoulder blades are pressing equally into the mat, and you're shooting for roughly 10 repeats. You're going to hold your next bridge. You're going to drop your bum halfway to the mat, and that's your middle drop. Find your way back, then give me a dip on the right, a dip on the left. Halfway down, right, left. Halfway down, right, left. Shoot for 10 repeats. Last one, bleed down, give yourself recovery. We're coming back into our blast. You're going to find your deep scoop. You're going to find your table or your extended legs and right into your 100. Just 5 full sets. Still the arms and transition into your single leg stretch for 10. Transition, double leg stretch for 10. Ground your feet, 100s for 5 repeats. Reground to the mat. Take recovery. We're going to come back into our dead bug series, but this time we are going to work on one side only. So you're going to begin with both feet and both hands connected to the mat. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, you're going to think of somebody pressing on your belly. You're going to start to find the beginnings of an imprint of your mid-back. You're going to pull your right knee up. You're going to press and resist with both palms stacked one on top of the other, and then back down to neutral 10 times. Once you've found the basic pattern, you're going to focus on keeping the weight of your shoulders and your sacrum pressing as evenly into the mat throughout as you can manage. Two more, we're going to hold the last press. Press and then focus on your back line. Bring it to neutral and release the press. Then tilt and imprint and press. Release and tilt and press. As you exhale, you tilt, you imprint your back, you contract your abs, and then you release both the press and the tilt. And you're shooting for roughly 10 repeats. Once you've done 10, you're going to float back down, take a breather, and then let's switch sides. Pulling the second leg up, pressing and resisting, and then regrounding both feet, both hands. Shoot for 10 repeats. Notice what you're doing with your body weight. Your back is your control. Keep the weight as even as you can on the left and the right side of your spine. Let's do 2 more. We'll hold the last one and we'll play with that tilt and press. Release back down to neutral. We're coming back into our blast. You're going to find your deep scoop. You're going to bleed up into a chest and arm lift. Legs entangled or extended for your 100. Still the arms and transition into your single leg stretch. Transition, double leg stretch. Grounded 100. Last set. Lead it down. Take recovery. We're coming back into our tailbone lift, and we will add to it, we'll add a little pike to it. So arms are at your side, or you can tuck your hands underneath your bottom. You're going to find your 99. So your 99 is with knees over hips. We're going to shoot for a softer leg line, but we're going to keep that micro bend in the knees. We're going to start the movement behind the 99. We're going to pull through it. We're going to lift the tailbone off. We're going to find that, and if you feel good, you can add a little pike onto your shoulders. You can keep the legs extended, or you can look for more bend. Shoot for 5. Once you've done 5, you're going to come back to your control line, both legs long and extended. Or you can drop on one side and support. You're going to use your big toe to trace a circle on the ceiling. Keep moving in the same direction. Then change directions. Inhale for half, exhale for half. Then switch legs. Beginning to trace in one direction for roughly 10 repeats. Change. Ground both feet. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, peel up into a chest lift, floating your arms. Hold. Draw your knees into table. Hold. Then hold on to the back of your thighs and see if you can come up just a little bit higher so it almost feels like you're just hanging on your lower back. Hold. Reground to the mat and extend both legs to 90. Arms at your side or hands underneath your bottom. You're going to use the big toes independently of one another and you're going to trace circles away from the midline and back. Then change direction. Then bend your knees, ground your feet, roll onto your side, stacking your body in one long line. And you'll remember that in the previous round, we kept our bottom leg grounded. So this round, we're going to pull both legs off the mat. We're going to try to keep the bottom leg hovering, and we're going to start our leg pull with the top leg at hip height. Pulling forward and back. We're going to shoot for 5 slow and controlled repeats, keeping that bottom leg hovering. Keeping our legs in a parallel line today. Stay here or try to pull both legs together and then float them back. Last one. Roll onto your second side. Check that you've got enough room to play. We're going to lift both legs off the mat. You're going to keep the bottom leg hovering. Your starting position for the top leg is at hip height. You're going to begin to pull and float back. Just the top leg for 5. Keep that bottom leg hovering. Then double up for 5, trying to pull both legs together. Last one. From here, you're going to press up and you're going to find your way into a narrow straddle seat. We are coming into a working saw line, so your feet are about mat width distance apart. We're going to try to keep a soft brace into the feet. You're going to begin along the midline. You're going to take a big breath in. On an exhale, you're going to rotate left. You're going to pulse 3 times, reaching past your left toes. Inhale for the middle, repeat right. Keep that pattern going. Keep both arms long and reaching and look over the back arm as you pulse. Transition double pulse. Exhales a little bit longer. Last one like this. Transition, One long single exhale and reach. Last one, and we're going to change our orientation and we're going to find our way into a wide straddle line. That straddle line can be as wide or as narrow as you need it. We're going to take a big breath in and we're going to place both hands on the floor in front of our thighs. We're going to play right side first. You're going to start to drop your palm, slide it as far as it will go. So you could be ending along your thigh, along your knee, along your calf, along your ankle, and then you're going to arc, frame, and reach with the other arm, and you're going to keep both legs extended with a brace into your foot. Come back to the midline. Let's repeat left. Slide, frame. Back to the middle. Slide, frame. Slide, frame. And then you're starting closer to your thigh and then you're ending closer to your ankle with each successive round. Then let's change it up. We're going to slide and drop to the elbow and then arc and frame. You could also do this resting on your thigh or amid the drop if that's too much for you. Slide, drop, frame. Slide, drop, frame. Slide, drop, frame. Last one. Slide, drop, frame. Last one. Slide, drop, frame. Then bleed your way from here into a butterfly line, bringing the soles of your feet together, and then walking your bum closer towards your heels. You can wrap your hands around the feet, or you can keep them around your ankles, and we're going to flap the knees up and down. And then we're going to end in the drop, and we're going to hold it. Then you're going to add a small lean forward, bending your elbows and thinking of hooking your chin over your toes. Then release into more of a diamond frame. Big breath in. Exhale, nod chin to chest. That ends off our blast time today. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. I do hope that you enjoyed today's class. Till next time, keep it light.